Hello and welcome back to my channel. On today's episode, I'll be talking about the University of Keele. Um, so if you're interested in applying for the University of Keele for any courses, feel free to watch this and share this, and I hope you find it interesting. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I make podcast, both audio and video podcasts on things that I find of interest. I will leave all the links to my social media as well on this description so that you can contact me for any queries you might have. Feel free to check out my previous videos as well. I'm a current medical student, so my first series that I'd done was on applying to university for both medical school and for other courses as well. I did a master's in nutrition and an undergrad degree in natural sciences, which was actually from University of Keele. So I decided to do a video on my alma mater just as an informative video for those who are thinking of applying to university at Keele or who are just interested in a bit of history. So yeah, let's get started. So here is a map of the UK. And the red pin here is where the university is based. So it's actually really close to Stoke-on-Trent. That's the local city centre for the university, and this itself is actually the university area. So if I will zoom out a bit, it's a fairly small university in terms of buildings and stuff. It's pretty much in one area, so it's called a campus university. And the village it's in is also called Keele. So if I just click on Keele here, so the red dotted line you can see here is actually the border of Keele, the actual village itself, and it incorporates pretty much most of the, actually all of the university. So yeah, so if I was to zoom out a bit, it's Keele is in between Manchester and Birmingham. There are quite good train links from Stoke-on-Trent station, that's the nearest station to Keele, to Birmingham, to Manchester, and to also London Euston. And Keele is actually pretty close to the England-Wales border. You can notice the dotted line that the cursor is now following on the left here, and that's actually the border between Wales and England. So if you're ever in Keele, do check Wales out as well. Just another random info before we join. Keele is also pretty close to Alton Towers, which is a popular theme park in England. If you're interested in coming to visit Keele, I would recommend visiting Alton Towers as well, if you have the chance to do so. It's I think it can be around 1 hour drive or so from the university to Alton Towers, so not too bad. So yeah, so let's get started with the university. So the Keele University, which is officially known as University of Keele, was founded in 1949 as the University College of North Staffordshire, and it's approximately 3 miles, so around 5 kilometers from Newcastle on the Lyme, which is the nearest town to Keele. I actually talked a bit about the Newcastle on the Lyme in my previous video, which was actually on Keele village. So do check them out, but I will obviously talk more about the university and the areas to go shopping and stuff as we go further along in this video. So in 1962, Keele actually became a university due to the fact that it was granted the status by the Royal Charter. So prior to that, it was actually called University College of North Staffordshire. So Keele actually has around 620 or so acres of land, so around 250 hectares of land, and it has a lot of extensive woodland, so you can see all the woodland here. So there's quite a few fish ponds. The spring pool wood as well, I believe, belongs to the university, and all of these mini ponds and lakes. And this extensive land, well, let me just switch to satellite, actually you can see it, but extensive land that also includes this bit here makes Keele the biggest campus university in the UK. Now I believe the land around Keele is growing ever so more due to all the different projects that the university has going, which means that over time Keele would be a lot bigger than the 620 or so acres that they currently have. So it's a pretty rural location as far as universities go, but it's a very nice area. So if you like to be in a rural setting, and kind of away from like the amenities, totally recommend Keele if you're looking for that nice welcome break from the hustle and bustle of a major city. So Keele was actually a passion project of this gentleman called A.D. Lindsay, who was a professor of philosophy and master of Balliol College, Oxford, back in the early 20th century. He was a pretty strong advocate of working class adult education, and he wanted to create this People's University. Um, and he wanted to create a university that would create graduates who from all sorts of background who were trained in both the arts, the humanities, sciences, and who could help move Britain forward economically and socially after the World War ended. So he talked about how Nazism and Second World War and the Great Depression, as well as First World War, represented a breach in society. And he said that part of that was caused by a failure in communication among the educated people. And he wanted to take steps to balance essential specialist and expert knowledge with a wide outlook and general understanding, particularly in awareness of a shared cultural heritage, especially European cultural heritage. So he wanted to have Keele as like one of the first interdisciplinary universities, which Keele still has now, and he wanted to create students who can have technical knowledge as well as have an understanding of political and social problems and of the values that lie behind them, so they can help improve society after the world wars ended. So the Keele estate was actually bought by this Need family. I'll talk more about them in the video as we go along. For £31,000 back in 1948. So this money was provided by the University Grants Commission that Lord Lindsay tried to persuade and successfully did to provide provide the money to create a college on new lines. And the committee, so that was the Staffordshire, the Grants Committee, they wanted to create a new university for the 20th century that could overcome the division between the arts and the sciences. So they created an exploratory committee, so the commission that was established by the Stoke-on-Trent Council, so secured some funding and ended up buying Keele Hall from its owner at that time, Ralph Sneyd, for about £31,000. So in August 1949, the University College was granted the right to award its own degrees that Lord Lindsay was passionate about. So he came up with the curriculum and everything to try and create this new university, and his gamble definitely paid off. So over time, to try and increase more money, the university kept adding departments. So by 1962, when the university got its official royal charters, the university had around 1,200 students and became known as the University of Keele, due to the fact that it was in close proximity to the village of Keele. So this is Keele's the only higher education establishment in the UK that's actually named after a village. Most of the others are either named after a city or like a significant landmark near that area. Together with Reading, Nottingham, Southampton, Hull, Exeter, and Leicester, Keele was one of those universities that were actually created in the 20th century. and Keele, I think, was one of the younger universities. So over time, different subjects were founded. For example, in 1974, the International Relations Department was founded and was one of the first institutions in the UK to offer a full degree in that subject. That still continues, I believe. And then in 1978, the postgrad medicine department was created, but that didn't create a medical school. This would be a couple of years later. However, in the 1980s, it started a bit in the 70s as well. Actually, there were talks of funding cuts, which started to take place. And Keele was briefly considered to merge with the North Staffordshire Polytechnic, but that negotiation closed. Because the time Keele had a population of 2,700 students compared to 6,000 students at the Polytechnic nearby. So a lot of MPs were thinking of possibly, possibly closing down Keele to try and reduce costs so that most people can go to the Polytechnic instead. So also in 1918, Keele actually became independent. So Keele wanted, some of the students wanted Keele to be independent due to the cutbacks in expenditure. So the students at Keele, they were definitely opposed to the fact that there were a lot of cuts happening, and they felt that the trust in the British government was very much betrayed. The students believe that the British government's proposal for education are an affront to the principles and ultimate welfare of society. And the students themselves declared the Free Republic of Keele, and this included actually creating a passport at that time. However, this rebellion was squashed in a sense, but Keele did actually manage to not be not have any cutbacks, as in like it was managed to be saved. So one way that the university tried to save itself is obviously to try and create more departments so they can get more students in. So despite having a lot less students than the local polytechnic, the Keele University Science and Business Park was opened in 1987 to generate more sources of income. You can still see the when you're going into Keele, you can still see the Science Park, which is this section here. So Keele Innovation and Science Park. They still have companies that work in the UK, so quite a few chemical companies and computer solutions, and they provide business to the local area, and the rent from these buildings, they obviously help fund the university as well. So furthermore, in 1994, the physiotherapy school was open, which at that point was actually a separate institution in Shropshire. In 1995, Keele merged with the North Staffordshire College of Nursing and Midwifery to form the new School of Nursing and Midwifery. And in 2001, Keele was actually awarded an undergraduate medical school in partnership with the Manchester University. So you had some students from Manchester Medical School who began being taught in Keele, and finally in 2007, Keele actually had its own medical school that was opened, and with the first cohort graduating in 2012. So yeah, and that obviously encouraged more students to come. 2006 saw the launch of the M.Pharm degree program, so that's the Master of Pharmacy programs. So again, that was also a popular course, so got more students from there as well. I believe the healthcare courses in Keele are actually quite popular. There all often is a wait list to join them. So definitely a big draw to the university. So, the budget costs, they still continue to happen despite all these departments being open. For example, in 2001, the faculties of humanities and social sciences, they merged. However, the German department closed in December 2004 due to the fact that it was declining in popularity and funding. However, the university managed to retain its physics department despite having the same pressures. So a lot of degrees ceased to be offered in in modern languages, not medical. I meant modern languages. Sorry. Um, a language learning unit was created to provide Arabic, Mandarin Chinese, French, German, Japanese, Russian, and Spanish teaching for both Keele students and staff. And if you do electives in these courses, you can get like an enhanced degree title. And that depends on how many electives you take. So, for example, if you did Spanish, say up to level 6, it goes up to level 10 in Keele. Level 6 is at the minimum, and you would get a degree. Your degree will be saying that you have, so for example, a BA in history with competency in Spanish. However, to get to that point, you got to make sure that you have enough elective spaces in your degree to be able to take a language elective. I believe the university also now does British Sign Language, so definitely worth looking into if you're thinking of doing an extra language and you have the space to do so. Even if you don't have the space to do so, you can actually do languages as an extra elective. I was able to do that when I was there, but I don't know if this still is true now. So one of the ways that Lord Lindsay, so that's the gentleman that had the idea to create Keele, he wanted to create a foundation year to try and bridge the gap, like I said, between the arts and the humanities. And one way he did that was to create the foundation year program. So initially, when the university was started, students had to do a 4-year program and they had to start doing the foundation year as their first year, or the point of entry year. And in that foundation year, students learned a bit of, history, a bit of sociology, a bit of maths, a bit of science. And the idea was to make them a well-rounded student. And once they passed that, they would then move on to whatever their degree was in. So moving on to history, for example, after doing the science foundation year. So this happened for many years. So most students who graduated from Keele at one point in time did the foundation year as their first degree. As their year one, and then they moved on to like their 3-year degrees after that. Because remember in the UK, most of the bachelor's degrees are 3 years long. They're not 4 years like in some countries. However, with the foundation year, they became a 4-year program. So the program was actually eliminated in 1998, but reintroduced in 2012 with new programs of studies. So initially there was the Humanities Foundation year, Science Foundation year, Social Sciences, Health and General Foundation years, and then the International Foundation year and the Accelerated International Foundation year was added to the foundation year courses. So that's like I think around 7 foundation years that you can actually do now at Keele. So again, a useful thing to look into. However, I know the entry criteria for them all differ. So I will show you the pages for the foundation years in the university website, so you can have a look in your own time if you're interested. So another bit to try and gain more money, I suppose, or have more income. Keele actually started having sustainability at its heart of its strategy. So the university actually introduced a hydrogen a low carbon energy park. That's it. Which now actually consists of a lot of solar panels right here. You can see the map. It's still being built, I believe, on this image. I think it should be done by now. And this low carbon energy plant or park rather, sorry, will create solar energy to the university, and it'll fund all the buildings in the university area. So the Keele University also had a UK first trial to blend hydrogen into the gas network, and this was to try and reduce the carbon emissions. So this has now, I believe, been successfully completed as of 2021, and the project initially started in October 2019, and it saw the hydrogen being blended into the campus's closed gas network, and now it up to by 20% by volume. And this operation became started fully in January 2020, and has safely supplied the blended gas to 100 homes and 30 university buildings on campus over the last year. So basically, during the trial, all the campus users, they have used the hydrogen blended gas safely in their homes, and they didn't need to make any changes to their existing appliances, and it was reported that there was positive results from their experience. And so yeah, so it was pretty cool project, and the universities continue to do more, I believe, more research into other sustainable ways, and they've come up with the solar panel network as well. So very cool, and lots of research that goes behind sustainability, and I think the university's actually got like a lot of grants and stuff to do a lot of work from it, and obviously they actually have the land space to do it. So with all this like farmland, so the 620 acres of land definitely does help to an extent. And the campus hopefully in the future will become fully reliant on just renewable energy and not coal. So more things have been happening in Keele in terms of expansion as well with the university departments. So for example, in 2017, the new business school was opened. So this is the Keele Business School here, and it's actually called the Dennis Coates building. Dennis Coates, I believe, is a local lady to Staffordshire who I think it owns a Bet365 company, so betting company. So this building was named after her and her honor. This building on the map here. So this business school, so Keele School of Management, that's it. They also work closely with like regional business areas to offer first year students who are on the management and business programs to have more opportunity to work on live projects. So again, helping the local community. So it was part of the ethos that Lord Lindsay wanted to have. The university also recently started a veterinary school, and I believe the first intake of students started back in 2020. So this veterinary school is still being built on the map here, but it does exist, and it's in conjunction with the Harper Adams University in Shropshire, and I believe that university is actually known for quite a lot of animal science and husbandry related courses. So and agriculture is also again a pretty useful degree to have, and also most people very attractive course for the university in terms of income generation. So yeah, so that's just a bit of interest into Keele generally. I will be talking more about the Keele Hall as well as we go along, but first I want to show you a street view before we can go into this. So this is the street view, road view rather, into Keele, and it's from the A525. So this is one of the entrances into Keele, and this is what greets you first when you enter the university. So the first building that we have on our right here is the, you can't see very well, right, here you go, is the David Weatherall building, and that's where the medical school is based. So if you're coming to study in Keele and you're planning to do medicine, your first 2 years of your medical studies will be spent in this building, and your third, fourth, and fifth years will be spent in the hospital. And the local hospital to Keele is the University Hospital of North Midlands, or it's also called Royal Stoke Hospital, which is right here. If you do have things to do in first and second year in the hospital, it's pretty easy to get to the hospital by bus. It's just one direct bus, the 25 bus, and that will take you to the hospital. There's 2 bus stops in the hospital actually. Depending on which one you get to, you just get off at whichever one. The one's right here, and the other one's just right here. So again, pretty conveniently located. Just a heads up about the street view, you might not be able to see all of the buildings, especially if they're still being built. So for example, the Marriott Hotel has been built on campus now, to try and house more, house people for like coming for conferences and for the graduation. So this hotel now, it should be on this land here. It is actually built. You can stay in it. This is where the Marriott Hotel should be, and the veterinary school should be down here. I'm not quite sure. Oh, and that's the veterinary school right there. Yeah, so that's what the veterinary school looks like. So the hotel is, oh wait, my bad. I think that might be the hotel actually. Let me just see. Yes, I think that might be the hotel, or like somewhere around this area. But it's definitely in this area. That's the veterinary school there. I hope the street view in the future can be able to see better. And this is the new management school that I just mentioned. That's the Dennis Coates Foundation building. This, I believe, is a home farm and sustainability hub. It's inside these buildings are mostly like conference venues and lecture halls, but there are like a couple of gardening endeavors that happen there as well, and I think the sustainability students are involved in creating different like plants. I'm not quite sure what happens there, but I just know that it's a lot of like lectures and seminars that can take place in there, and a lot of offices as well. It's not actually a working farm as far as I'm aware, but I know there are plants that are grown there as well to try and create more biodiversity. This is just a better view of the medical school. It is a pretty big building. I've been in there for conferences, and again, it's just mostly just classrooms and offices. They have a specialist cadaver rooms as well. I think they still do dissection at Keele, but either way, you can still see the cadaver specimens in order to try and improve your learning. So yeah. But to Keele, so these buildings on the left here actually house a lot of businesses that rent, and again, it's another one of those money building alternate source of income for the university. So it's the Science and Innovation Park the university has. They pretty much form most of these buildings on the left here when you come in. On the right here is one of the accommodations, barns, accommodation hall. This is also where the university accommodation office is now. So if you have any problems with the university, accommodations that you want to report face to face, you would come here. You would collect your keys from here as well, I think, at the start of the year. No, you won't. This is, I think, one of the places, but there are other places that will be set up as well. And you're collecting your keys, but you can come to drop off your keys here as well. I'm not sure how much has changed since then. There is a bus stop in front of the accommodation hall, so you can get on. I'll get off as well, so you see access. This is actually the newer part of Barnes Hall. So the newer accommodation, they're mostly ensuite rooms, this here as well. Whereas the rest of the campus accommodation actually look like these, kind of like 1960s and late 50s style buildings. Again, on the left here, more science and business park buildings. And then we go down here. The university actually also has a day nursery, which is right here. So for those who are studying or are lecturers in the university and have children, young children, they can leave them here in the university day center. Pretty useful as well. Again, more innovation centers on the left here. There is actually a really big area compared to what you saw on the map. Yeah. So further takes you down to the main university center. And on the right here we have another innovation area as well. Let me just show you here. This also houses quite a few different like chemists, the science related businesses. So they do like experiments and laboratories to try and like find solutions. I'm not quite sure entirely what else they do as well, but I know that they're to do with like science related jobs. They can work them. So when you come to this roundabout, I shall go right first actually to show you more of the accommodation of Barnes, and then you can see what the style of buildings look like. Up here it'll take you to more of the buildings and also the sustainability accommodation. So it's basically for students who can live in this sustainability accommodation, and they have their own garden area where they grow their own vegetables. Allotments, that's the word. Where they grow their own plants, and they have like their own compost center as well. So one thing you need to know about the accommodation at Keele, so there's 4 accommodations. There's Barnes, there's Forward, Lindsay, Holy Cross, and the Oaks. Sorry, 5. Yeah, around 5 accommodation at Keele, and they are all labeled A to Z. So all the blocks you see on the right here. So these are different blocks, and they're all labeled A to Z. For example, this is block A to F right here, and then the others are all down here, and they all cater for like different types of housing that you want. So for example, these blocks here, so G block for example on the left, actually let me just show you here. So K block for example, these are 4-bedroom flats on the bottom floor and actually on all 4 floors. Just an FYI, the only accommodation that has lifts is the Barnes, the new flats that I showed. They only have lifts, the rest of them don't. So you will need to drag up your heavy luggages up there, just a heads up. So these are actually 4-bedroom flats that you can apply to live in. Keele's pretty good in the fact that in your first year and your third year, you're guaranteed accommodations. On your first and your final year, you're guaranteed accommodation. If you're an international student, you're guaranteed accommodation for the whole of your course as well. And if you're a medical student, your first 2 years, you're guaranteed accommodation on campus as well. So when you're coming to apply for campus in your final year or in your second year, you can actually apply to stay with your friends. If there's 4 of you, for example, You just have to come up with a group name, and then you add everyone's details onto the accommodation website, and hopefully you'll be placed in the same flat. If there's more than 8 of you, I believe the same group name will work. It's just you had to put down the names of 3 other people that you would like to live with, and then the other 4 people in your group, they will hopefully be placed in the same flat as you as well. It's like it'll be just the other side. So it'll be like, for example, you and 3 of your friends will be on this flat here, and the rest of the 4 people or your friends with, they might be placed either on the opposite flat or the flat above. So yeah, so pretty convenient that way. So these are 4-bedroom flats. So it just means that you share the kitchen, which you can see here. This is the kitchen here, and you share the bathroom and the toilet with your friends. So from memory, the bathroom and the toilets have always been separate, so you don't have to wait in a queue to get to either ones. So pretty cool. Pretty convenient, rather. So this L block was actually where I stayed in my first year at the university. Sorry, not in my first year, in my final year. And I think I was actually on this floor. If memory serves. No, actually, wait. I was on the. There was 3 flats on each floor. I was on the other side. You can't see it from here. So yeah, I was here my final year with my 2 friends. And another friend as well. So 4 of us together in that flat. I apologize for my random rumblings. I've had a bit of a long day, so my mind's all over the place. Medical school does that to you. So these are parking spaces available for most people. To get a parking space, you do actually have to apply, and you had to be eligible to get a parking space. So usually people who have courses that need you to have a car, so things like social work, physiotherapy, even in medical school, nursing school, when you got to go for some placements, you might need to use a car. Because the placements you go in are not always accessible by public transport, so a car will be required. So for that, you will need to have a permit, and that allows you to park on campus anywhere. But the parking spaces are pretty limited, and it is literally it's a competition to try and get the parking space. So I would advise to get here early. I just wanted to show you this building before we move on to the other parts of the university. This was actually built by one of the Ralph Sneeds of Sneed family. I mentioned the family in my previous episode, and this is one of the 5 lodges that he actually built to house the estate workers. And I think they're actually renovating this from the looks of it. This road here is the continuation of the Keele road that leads into the village, eventually into the village. Just there. This is a wooded area. Here you can actually walk into it as well. They got a bit of a nice lake on the left. And this again is more of the newer barns accommodation. I think these are ensuite rooms, which tend to be the more pricey ensuite rooms as well. I don't think I can actually go into here, but let me just zoom in. So further to the, so you kind of can see it here. This building here is actually the laundry building. Has I think around, I can't remember the amount, I think around 5 or so laundry washing machines, and then around 5 to 7 dryer machines. Words. Those you do have to pay to actually do your laundry at Keele. So I think when I was there, it cost around £2.60 to around £3.20 to do to wash your clothes, depending on the cycle you want to have. And then if you wanted to dry your clothes, it's around £1. And the laundry company that own the laundry is Circuit Laundry. They are known pretty much uh, across the country. A lot of universities. They're not the best laundry providers, I have to say. The machines tend to work, but that's also the fault of the students, I would say, because when you're overloading the machine, it does tend to break quickly. And when you have, near enough 1,000 or so students using these laundry machines, at one point they will obviously break. Um, so just a heads up about the cost of laundry. I'm not sure how much it is now, how much it costs. But back when I was at Keele, that's how much it costed. You to pay for the laundry, you actually got a card. You can get the card in either the sports center or the Chancellor's building, which is like the main campus building for lectures and for seminars. In that campus building, you can get like a prepaid one, which you add some money on, and it comes out with prepaid, obviously, or you can just get it for free, and then you can top up depending on how much you want to spend for laundry. I would suggest topping up £10 initially. It sounds like a lot, and then like you can work out how much usage you have from there onwards. So Circuit Laundry is the name to go. Unfortunately, I can't seem to get into the structure here, into the road here, or I'll show you better. This building, which is to the right of, well, our right from what we're saying now to laundry, is the common room. It's free to enter. You just have to tap your Keele card at the entrance. All of the buildings now, to get into all of the accommodation, you have to use your card to get in, but not everyone can get into the accommodation. Obviously, you just have to live in that particular block to get in. This building, it has two rooms, sorry, two rooms that you can sit and chill in with your friends. One room has a TV, the other room had a pool table. There's some toilets in there as well, and kitchens too that you can go and get a drink if you're planning to a movie night, for example, or something like that. Behind the Keele, the barn's common room was also the barn's bar. They serve alcoholic drink. They're open in the evenings. And you can actually go and host events there and also watch a movie. Because as far as I'm aware, they have the TV license to show live TV, so you can watch your football if you wanted a bit more private area. Or we used to watch Doctor Who as part of the Sci-Fi Society there before we moved to the university students' room union, because that was a bit more quieter. This building is on the left here is the Islamic Society. So for those who follow the faith, is the Islamic Society on the left here. You can join. Keele has its own Islamic chaplain as well. She was very nice when I met her. I think it's still her, Rubia. I think her name is. I'm not too sure, but she seemed really nice. And yeah, so you can go in to obviously pray, and they do quite a few events as well throughout the year if you want to get involved. I don't know if you can hear the background noise in my in this podcast, but I live in an area that's quite popular with students. So the other voices you can hear in my podcast now are just my flatmates talking. The corridor is pretty echoey, so you can hear most of the conversations, especially if they're standing in the kitchen. You can also hear planes going by every so often, because I don't live too far from the airport. So again, apologies for that. This structure here is a sports center, very 1960s. A lot of the buildings in Keele are very much built in the 1960s. They're still durable. They just look kind of sad from the outside. I hope over time the university can develop it. The cricket pitch is here, as you can see, this area here. And then the rugby pitches as well. As far as I'm aware, the men's cricket team tend to use this facilities more than the women's cricket team, but I hope that changes over time. In the distance is the athletics part. Also like the tennis courts are around that area as well. So yeah. Saying that, I think I've only ever been to the tennis court section once in my life when I was at Keele, which is kind of sad. But I never really had the need to. Uh, so let's just go down here. So this building on the left here that we're coming up to is called the Chancellor's Building. It's a pretty let me get out of here. A pretty big building. Let me see if I can actually get to the car park. Apparently not. So it's actually a pretty big building. I think the law school are based in here. The language unit are based on that section there that I'm pointing with the cursor. It's easy to get lost in this building. And we have in the past as well trying to find the different buildings, rooms that we're supposed to be in. They're all labeled differently. Um, so pretty easy to get lost. Here's a better view of part of the uh, chancellors in the back here. So yeah, the School of Law is there. So most of it's like all offices, but there are also rooms for like seminars and for the bigger lecture theatres are also in there. I'm just going to show you the sports center. So this is what the sports center looks like. Here, you will actually have exams in the sports center as well. And to get into the sports center, you need to access it using your card, your student ID card. That's the only way to get in. And then your exam will be in one of the halls on the left here. Just a heads up, it is a very echoey place, so you can hear everything that goes on there. Just more of the facilities that the university has to offer. So I think again the athletics tracks is actually this section here. I can't seem to access it, but obviously when you're there for open days, you can have a look into them. Unfortunately, there is no swimming pool in the university. If you want to go swimming, you will have to go into Newcastle under Lyme. One of the sports gyms at Jubilee 2, I think, have a swimming pool, so you can use their facilities. There is a swim team for Keele, but they don't use. I think they go somewhere else to swim. This is another building. I think it's called William M's, and you won't get a chance to go in here. I think it's just mainly for the estate team to go. So yeah, so this building on the right here, it looks like a house. This whole building, I think, is a converted house into office. This is the Newsom building, and this is where you will have your counselling and mental health support. There's quite a few counsellors. They're always often oversubscribed, so you might be on the wait list if you are in need of any other support. Just an FYI about that. So I don't know how it works to be referred to the the counsellors. As far as I'm aware, I think they're all counsellors, they're not psychologists. But I have heard that there is a wait list for it. So if you were to go up the road, you come to more of the buildings. Again, that's the back of Chancellor's. It does actually quite extend into it. There's also a cafe in the Chancellor's as well. I think they recently renamed it. It used to be called the Refectory when I was there, but now I think it's like the central kitchen. They have some really nice hot food menus every day during term time. They are not open on Sundays, as far as I'm aware. And they did do catering packages. I don't know if they still do catering packages. But that only covers the weekdays. For the weekend, you're pretty much on your own to cook food. Which is a nice task to learn. But yeah, the refectory, they have really nice food. They used to have like street food menus as well when I was there. If you don't want any other hot food, you can also go buy sandwiches right next door to the kitchen. There's like a sandwich area. It is cheaper to pay by your Keele card. So your Keele card, so your student ID, you can put money on there, and you can actually pay for food, so for hot food and for cold food in the university building areas, and they are pretty it's more affordable if you pay using your card. I was gonna say, I think you can buy groceries as well. I'll show you where you can buy groceries as we go along. So this building on the left here, I think it's Colin Reeves. It's where the computer science people live, lecturers, sorry. I've only been once there for a meeting. Most of it looked like, again, um, um, offices, but there are lecture spaces in there as well. Again, on the right here, this is actually a lot of houses. So Keele has a lot of like estate houses for people to live on. I'm not sure who lives on there, but I know like PhD students live there. Like those with families. I don't think every PhD lives in the housing. I think some local people to Keele as well live there. Some lecturers as well, they live there as well. And I don't know what the criteria is to get housing on here. But I'm fairly certain like PhD students live there as well. This building on the right here is actually the post room. Sorry, on the left here is the post room. Let me just get a clear view. So whenever you get a parcel that comes to you, it'll be sent to the post room, which is right here. The entry to it is the entry to the post room is actually here, through this little route, and you had to show your Keele card. They scan it, and then your parcel will be given to you directly. You will get an email saying that you got a parcel there. So whenever you order things from Amazon, it'll go here. Unfortunately, you can't send any postal parcels from here. You can only collect parcels. There used to be a post office, but I believe that's now closed. I'm not sure why, but that's a bit of a sad loss. Okay, so the back of this building is actually one of the newer labs that come up for the chemistry department and the forensics department. Let's see if I can get a better view. Okay, come on, what is it? Okay. And I think I'm going the right direction. Okay, sorry, it's going right the wrong direction. Okay, so I'll just go down here to show you more of the campus buildings. Okay, so this, can I actually go down here? I wonder if I can go down. Oh, I can go down here. Great. So this building on the left here is Leonard Jones. This is the building space for the School of Chemistry, the School of Physics, and the School of Forensic Sciences. So if you're doing any of those 3 degrees, you will pretty much spend most of your laboratory spaces in here. So for School of Chemistry, Medicinal Chemistry, Physics, Astrophysics, Forensic Science, you'll be based here. I think for Astrophysics and Physics, you have to kind of go down the steps when you enter. Chemistry and Forensics tend to be in the floor above. Yeah, and all your lecturers for those courses are also based on there. So if you want to go talk to them, go talk to them. The building on the right here is the School of Life Sciences. So pretty much everyone ranging from biomedical sciences, biochemistry, biochemistry, neuroscience. They're all based in here, including the labs. The new labs were actually opened a few years ago, and they're actually here. So this picture doesn't show the new labs, but they are here. And they're called the David Attenborough Labs, and David Attenborough actually came to open the new buildings, the new laboratory buildings for life sciences. Unfortunately, I did not meet him. I was stuck in a lecture, and I still regret it to this day. But yeah, he did actually come to visit a couple of years ago. This building on the left here is Dorothy Hodkins. It houses all the psychology lecturers. I think most of them live here. Yep. Psychology is actually one of the biggest schools for Keele. It's one of the biggest draws to the university as well. And this building as well has a big lecture hall as well. So you might be in here for some of your lectures if you're not in Chancellor's. Don't think I can go down here. No. Opposite this building is this here is William Smith. That's the building for geography, geology, sustainability. If you're doing natural sciences as well, the course directors for natural sciences are actually based in the School of Geography because they're geography geologists. That's the degree that they did, and that's what they work in. But they are mostly based in here. When I worked as a student ambassador, I used to work for my school quite a lot as well, so um, I was based here for most of my time, which is nice because it got cold during the times that they did the open days, so I felt happy being inside. This building on the left here is Walter Mobley. It's a fairly newly refurbished area. This has again more seminar and lecture theatres. You do actually have an exam. It's also an exam on here, so you'll be able to do exams in here in Walter Mobley. So just a heads up about that. So the sports centre and Walter Mobley are two main places that you will actually do your exam in. There's also another one called Lindsay theatre that I'll show you as we go along. But that's actually one of the accommodations. This building right here, I've never actually been inside, Close Morsa. So they are all labelled after like prominent people that helped with the development of Keele. David Weatherall, for example, that's a medical school that was named after the Chancellor back in 2000. So Close Morsa again, I think contributed to something either at Keele or like they were a scientist. Dorothy Hodkins was actually a scientist, a chemist, I believe, and she pioneered like techniques in crystallography, I think, but she was definitely a chemist by background. Fun fact: Margaret Thatcher, one of the prime ministers of the UK, first trained as a chemist, and she trained under Dorothy Hodkins. But I do know that Close Morsa building is where the Vice Chancellor lives. If you can see on this here, it's where the Chancellor's office is, sorry, Vice Chancellor's office is, and it's also the Humanities and Social Science Research Office. Now, so the Vice Chancellor of Keele at the minute is Professor Trevor Macmillan, who I believe is a biologist by background. So as I go further down, this building on the left here is the chapel. It doesn't really look like a chapel, but it is a chapel. It's a, I believe the stone was actually from the local area, Staffordshire Stone, I think. And the graduations actually happen in here. Despite having a manor hall queue, most of the graduations actually happen in the chapel. So yeah, it's a nice building. Fairly new as well, actually, I think, compared to the others. This is the library. All the work that you see now is not happening anymore. This was actually back in 2015, this image capture, but this is a library. There are spaces under, like in the basement as well. And during the semester times and also the Christmas and Easter vacations, the library is open 24/7. So you can go and study at 3 a.m. in the morning. No one's going to judge. You can study at like 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Again, no one's going to judge. You can be there for 24 hours. No one's going to judge, but you might want to get some fresh air. And they have vending machines. And I think they I'm not sure if there's a microwave anymore. But people also order hot food. There's actually like spaces to go eat as well, which to be honest, during exam season those get taken over by revision as well. But you can go and eat in the eating places on the basement. By the silent study is pretty convenient. You can go sit in the in the section that you need to for your subject choices. So yeah, so I actually enjoyed going to the library. Um, so yeah, so this library also houses the mascot, who happens to be Herbert the Dragon. Yeah, he's quite a cool figure. Let me see if I can show you a picture later on. So this is the student square. So this is the Tree of Lights, I think, and this was built back in 2012 to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the university. Um, so just to point out, so some of the stuff, buildings, some of the shops you see on here don't no longer exist anymore. So for example, this was the Santander Bank that was taken out some time ago. This little quaint building here, the shop here was the SD5 fast food. They got rebranded to On the Square, and I believe are no longer there. This is a very expensive grocery shop. Select and save when it does come. Yep, there you go. Select and save. This has now turned into a. It was Cost Cutter when I was there, so select and save when I first joined, then Cost Cutter, then now it's a cooperative. I think they've actually taken over the whole space now, and you can actually get student discounts for the cooperative. The pharmacy, I believe, is still there, but however, these two ATMs you had to pay now to withdraw money. The Santander one, if it's still there, was free to use. So the pharmacy is there. Select and save, very expensive, but you know, hopefully the cost uh, the shop that's there is much cheaper. Blackwell's was the bookshop, however, they are no longer there. They, during COVID time, they've decided to um, take the business elsewhere. Costa Coffee as well has now been rebranded to another coffee shop. I think they've pretty much taken up the whole space of Blackwell's as well. And this Martin's was actually the area where you can actually go buy postage. Unfortunately, that closed down this year, and I'm not sure what's gonna happen to it now. The floor above actually belongs to the student union. So there's a long corridor, and that leads to one of the. You can actually exit the corridor like that. But one of the rooms for events is also here. K2, I think it's called. It's a smaller room for like more smaller um, events. So this is what the student union looks like from the outside. There's like two entrances you can go into. This section here has like a fast food area here. We can get sandwiches, you can get curly fries, chips, cheese chips and gravy are a very popular night out food. Literally, it's kind of like poutine, but not poutine because it's not the cheese chunks, so they give you the more sort of like the grated cheese. And it's actually surprisingly very filling. Not very healthy, but very filling. This is the other entrance into it. And this is where the elected officers live. So like that's the student officers that you elect, and they are all housed up there. Let me see if I can go back. And that's where you would go and see your elected officers about any issues you have with your education, with any other sports clubs, etc. And also this is where all the nights out events happen, so all the freshers events, all the society events as well, they happen in here. So like I mentioned, I went to a lot of the science fiction society events in here because they had the TV license to show their show live TV, so we used to go watch Doctor Who. And it's also a bit more quieter space than the Barnes Bar, so it's easy to control the noise levels. So yeah, so definitely worth a visit. Again, also built in the 1960s, so kind of old. So this brings us back to the main center again. So just to get to the main road. If I can get to the main road, come on. Shrewsbury sometimes temperamental. So this building space used to be a car park. But I think the university was planning on building accommodation, however they've not actually done anything to it since. This little area here used to be called I think it's Darwin, Darwin building, was where the management school existed before they moved to their new area. So this now is where security lives, so if you need security for whatever reason, you will go here. So let's go this way. So if we had gone back that way, we'll be going back to Barnes again. So let me actually move this on a bit faster so that you guys can listen to it more. So on the left here, we actually come to Horwood, which is one of the accommodation that's been here since. So Horwood was actually built, I believe, in 1957. Just a sec as I try and find more about the thing, but it's again, it's named after someone who helped with the like helping finding Keele. But yeah, halls of residence. Here we go. So yeah, so Horwood was built in 1957. Barnes was 1970. So again, they're all labeled A to Z in terms of blocks. That I believe is O block, and as far as I'm aware, has not been in use for a while. Horwood is also pretty conveniently located to the fact that it's really close to the GP surgery. I'll show it to you on where we go, and also close to Students' Union. So if you're fairly drunk and you happen to live in Horwood Hall, it's a pretty conveniently located accommodation. This, I believe, is the Z sheds, as it's called, so fairly like cheap ones, I think. And you have like 5 to 7 people living in these sheds, maybe less now. So yeah, so that's what it looks like from the outside. The university does try and repaint the inside on a regular basis, so they don't look as tired as they do outside. The GP surgery, let me go back, is actually right through here. Not quite sure what this little outlet thing is, but the GP surgery is actually here. There also used to be a dental practice, but that closed down before I came. Again, not sure why that closed down. But the GP surgery is here, and it does actually cater like the local village population as well. So again, not a. I actually really liked Horwood. So that's the accommodation I lived in my first year. And when I first came here, these two structures still existed. So let me just go back here. These two structures. The one on your left was the common room, and the one on the right was the bar. So again, they showed like live TV, and they were knocked down. So these are not permanent structures like the accommodation blocks are. So I think the reason they're knocked down, and the university ended up building a car park. These telephones no longer exist. They were not there when I joined the university as well, which is quite a few years after this picture was taken. So this image was captured July 2009. So more car park space come as a result of these two blocks being taken down. And there's also a lot of housing actually really close to the university here, to Horwood Hall, and again more of a public housing. So I think, like I said, a lot of lecturers will live here, as well as PhDs and probably people who worked in the local village, and also like for the staff as well, other staff. So yeah, I never really went that way because it just kind of felt awkward to like infringe on people's privacy. This, I believe, is another of the lodges. The law looks a bit modern, but this is one of the lodges. Let me see. And the Hallwood laundrette as well was actually through here. So there's a structure there. Let me see if I can get the back of it. So that's the laundrette, I think. Yeah. So again, more. It was actually a really nice area to stay in. So when I first came to Keele, my accommodation was this block here, and I think my room was this one here, D block. And my view was this tree which got knocked down shortly after that, and I was kind of annoyed because it was a nice tree. There's a lot of trees that got knocked down at Keele due to I think some diseases. Ooh, actually, okay. Let me show you this. This is the KPA, so the Keele Postgrad Association. Anyone can go in there. It's like a small pub, and you get some really nice food there. Like the menu changes every time, and it's actually really nice. So definitely recommend visiting if you're there. You don't have to be a postgrad student to enter, like I said, but you know some people go there and you know they have drinks with their lecturers. So make of that what you will. Because in the UK you actually call your professor by their first name, you don't call them by their surname, which makes it slightly awkward because you know they spend so many years doing a PhD and you disrespect them, especially when you're 18 and kind of half drunk. I feel like I'm disrespecting them every time I call them by their first name. Not that I ever got drunk at university. I didn't. I was a good child. Uh, So this is, I'm just showing you the tree, so it's actually the back of the library. Hallwood was pretty convenient to the library as well. So this is the route that you would, sorry, that's the route you take to go up here. That was the back entrance of the Students' Union. I wanted to show you this building as well, which is the Energy Center. So, you know, when I talked about the hydrogen energy, this was like the main one here. One of the main areas there. Okay, let me show you Keele Hall. I'll try and make this quick because I realize it's kind of a long video. It's coming up to 1 hour and 15 minutes now. This is Keele Hall. It's a 19th century manor house, mansion house, sorry, and it's grade 2 listed. Was initially purchased by the Sneed family in 1544. The Sneeds were Staffordshire gentry, who prospered in coal and also were iron owners and brick and tile manufacturers. So there was actually coal in the local nearby village, Silverdale, to Keele. So in around 1580, one of the Sneed families, Ralph Sneed, he built a large Tudor-style house here. And then in 1829, another Sneed inherited the house, and he ended up rebuilding the house with the current Jacobean style house that you see now. This was built in 1851 and was designed by an architect called Anthony Sullivan, who was pretty popular in the UK. One of the buildings, like I said, was called William Ems, which was in the sports centre. William Ems was a landscape gardener at that time. So between 1968 to 1970, he was in charge of landscape in the garden and pretty much added or enlarged all the existing ponds and trees around the area to effectively conceal the farm lives. So as I saw you on the map, I'll show it again. The main natural feature of the gardens that Ems created was the wooded valleys with the ponds running southeast from Keele Hall to the spring pool wood. The pool in the wood was actually a hammer pond which served a forge, and remnants of it can still be seen today, the forge, if you do go for a walk around Keele Woods. So at some point in history, so between 1900 and 1909, the hall was actually led to Grand Duke Mikhailovich of Russia, who was a son of the Grand Duke Michael Nikolaevich of Russia, and he was a grandson of the Tsar Nicholas I of Russia. So Grand Duke Michael Mikhailovich and his wife Countess Sophie von Merenberg. They lived here, and because they had a morganatic marriage, they spent pretty much the rest of their life in exile in England, France, and Germany. When they actually lived here, they entertained quite a lot of guests, including Sophie's father, Prince Nicholas Wilhelm of Nassau, Prince Francis of Teck, and at one point Edward, Prince of Wales, visited Keele Hall as well. So the Grand Duke Michael was a pretty popular figure for the 10 or so years that he lived at Keele Hall. He essentially took up life of an English countryman and visited the local population, and he and his wife were very, very popular. And they visited the local school in the village as well. And he ended up getting the distinction of Lord High Steward of Newcastle and Lyme Borough in 1902. The hall was actually requisitioned by the army during World War II, and at one point hosted the American soldiers and also like Polish servicemen during that time as well. I'll actually show you another building that still exists from the American soldiers' time. So the exterior of the house is actually made out of red and yellow sandstone ashlar with rusticated coins, and it's designed roughly in an L formation, and the style of it's a Jacobean revival. And it's actually 3 stories with cellars as well at the bottom, and you have a service wing as well. The interior of the rooms is like a mix of styles like Louis the 6th style and Louis the 16th style and Renaissance revival. And some of the works are also influenced by William Kent, who was an English architect. And there's also Tudor revival periods in there. Yeah. And the dining room now is actually used as the university common room. Unfortunately, none of the you can't really see much of the interior in terms of like the rooms, how they look like. So, for example, this is the fireplace. It's one of the first rooms you see in if you enter through one of the entrances. This is the library, the Italian gardens. I'll show you more of it, and much of the university, the Keele Hall now is actually used as for conferences, classes, and offices. So you can't really see how the state rooms looked like at that time. The reasoning for it, I believe, is when the fortunes of the Sneeds fell in the 1940s, everything was auctioned off to pay for the death duties and the high tax rate. So you couldn't really see much of the rooms and all of their glory. You can just see all these like wallpapers now that are in dire need of some TLC from the looks of this. So this is what the ballroom looks like. So it's mainly for conferencing now and for weddings. Again, so the library also looks like. So yeah, definitely recommend visiting. Let me just show you. So it's in a bit of an L shape, like you can see here. Let me just show you the back of the university. So if you were to go up here, it will take you into the Italian gardens. So you can see the layout of the gardens that William Ems helped to create. On that side of the accommodation, on the side of the estate, leads you to Lindsay and the Keele walled gardens as well. You can see a fountain here, which during the summer when it's on, it's actually really nice. In the distance there is actually, you can't really see it properly here, but the M6, the motorway 6 is there. It's a very nice, quaint area to go and visit, I would say. Very peaceful. There's a lot of seats down here that you can sit, including this like stone enclosed, I'm not sure. There's one on this end as well. And you can actually exit the university through here. Yeah. Let me just quickly take you down here. So this is the pond. The first pond on the left you see here is like the main big pond. You can go fishing there. Let me see if I can actually get to here. Apparently not. Oh, there you go. You can actually like walk around this area. There are more walks down here as well. You can go up there as well. Let me just go up here and show you the well. It does come up. So the well. Yep, here it is. So this little housing here has the well inside. Unfortunately, the water is not very clean, so I wouldn't drink from it. You can't access it anyway. But at one point, when one of the Sneed family members fought in World War One, he got food parcels and stuff from Keele, because back then apparently the rich aristocratic men who fought in the war, they got like food sample like sent from their estate to them to feed them. And the war, so he actually got water from the spring. Unfortunately, the water's not very clean, and you can't really drink from it much. There's also a little waterfall here as well that you can't see. So if I was to go back, it would actually take me back to Forward. I just want to also show you the Keele Clock House. This is now where the Chancellor lives. This is his house. Sorry, the Vice Chancellor lives. This is his house. I believe the Keele Music Department is also established around here, in this area. This clock at one point stopped working. The rumour behind it is Princess Margaret, who was the late Queen of Britain's sister. When she was the Chancellor of Keele for a few years, she used to come live in this housing here, and she complained that the clock was too loud, so they removed the clock, so it would not be used again, which was kind of sad. But now I believe the university's actually got it working. Cool. So let me just go this way. So this is just behind the walled allotments. You can actually choose to grow your own allotments here as well. As in like okay, that's just a Keele walled garden allotment. So the sustainability group, they actually they grow like plants here. So some of the allotments are actually owned by staff members. The rest are all owned by the university. So you can go help in, take the weeds out, and they grow quite a few different plants and stuff. So pretty useful thing to have. Let me just see if I can show you a better view of the clock house. Yeah, so like I said, the music department exists in this little bit here. Music and music technology are the two courses I've taught at Keele. There was also an amphitheater at some point here, but that was an old quarry, but I think you can't really access it now. So once you go past Horwood and you see the university, the Keele Hall, you come out and you go up this road, and this is also part of the university building. Oh, they seem to have a new prosthetic and orthotics workshop now as well, and you go past like the university on the right here, so William Smith building on the right. And on the left we come up to Lindsay Hall, so named after Lord Lindsay, so one of the founding members of the university. Again, these are I believe this residence was built in 1964 or partly in 1964. Let me just see if I can access it better. So on the left here, before we go into Lindsay, this is the crime scene house, which is part of the forensic science program. As the name suggests, it is literally a crime scene house with a lot of like crime scene related things there. So you get a chance to do fingerprinting, shoe printing. In that, I've been in there a few times as part of my degree. It was really cool. Really enjoyed those labs actually. They were some of the best labs I've had. Oh yeah, Lindsay. So I go through here. Lindsay Hall is actually really close to a working farm, and you will actually smell the manure before you come in. Just an FYI. So it's even though it was built in 1964, this section here is fairly newly built. A lot of the rooms in there, actually all the rooms in there are ensuite rooms. They are pretty nice. I stayed in one before when I came to do the ambassador role for one of the open events in the summer. This is the farm here. There are quite a few horses. You know, you can go for a walk if you wanted to. I don't know if the estate's actually the farm is owned by the university. What is that? So this is what the accommodation looks like. So slightly better looking than what you just saw with Barnes and Horwood. But yeah, but still nice to stay in. Let me see if I can try and show you. Okay, so Lindsay as well is where you would have part of your exams. It doesn't seem to, Google Maps doesn't seem to want to let me see it. Let's see if I can actually get you a better picture. So there's actually a pub in Lindsay Hall that you go to. Actually, let me see if I can go through here. There's actually a pub that you can go to eat in as well, Lindsay Bar. It should be around here somewhere. And that the food they serve is also hot food, also nice, and they also run events like quiz nights. You can also do an exam in Lindsay Hall as well. There's like a theatre area that the Drama Society utilized, but it's also a small venue for exams as well. So just heads up in case you are planning on coming to kill your exam when you'll be there. So that's Lindsay behind us, and that's the chemistry school and forensic school. And let's go this way. Now, if you were to turn right here, we'll go back to the post room, the sports office and Barnes. This road is Keele Drive, and it actually takes you to the village. So this road is mostly consist of people like housing that was leased to people that worked in the university. This house is one of the other lodges that was built by the Sneyd family. Again, more flats on this side. This building here is a Holy Cross and the Oaks on the left. So Holy Cross was built, I think, in 1993 in the shape of a cross, and it was built to commemorate the Knights Templars, the Knights Hospitality who used to exist in Keele village. I talked a bit about them in my previous video, so do have a check out. And then this is the Oaks. I believe most of the Oaks and Holy Cross are ensuite rooms. This is a wooden structure of a squirrel that exists in front of the Oaks. In spite of Herbert the Dragon being the mascot for Keele, the main feature for Keele are the squirrels, the many squirrels that exist on campus. This is quite nice actually. They are fairly modern accommodation, the Oaks and Holy Cross. Also more on the pricier end, and they have a common room, but they don't actually have Can't remember. They don't actually have a pub for food. I think this is another of the lodge that exists as well. And the last lodge down here is the one on the periphery of the Keele University estate. It is actually a really nice drive. This drive, especially in the summer. So this is the lodge that I wanted to show you before we yeah. And this brings us into the center of the village. One of the other accommodations that used to exist at Keele as well was the Hawthorns, which existed in the village, so right here. Unfortunately, that land was sold. That was built in 1957 and housed like the first few students who came to the university, but that was sold by the university for housing development. So you can't really see much now. I think you can see street view of the university at the previous accommodation Hawthorne. That's what they looked like. But unfortunately, this does not exist now. And yeah, small new houses. So yeah, so that's just a accommodation input into the university. Let me just show you where the American soldiers were stationed, the buildings that still exist now. So I think I mentioned this in my previous video as well. These two buildings, they are from when the American soldiers had were right here in the university during the World War times. These are two bungalows. The one on the front here is now used for teacher training, and the one on the back here was initially used by the foundation year staff, but I think they've now moved on to a different building. So it's yeah, it's separate now. So in the interest of time, consider that this video is gonna be more than 1 hour and 32 minutes. I'm just gonna show you quickly some of the woodland areas, all the walks you can go into. You can actually walk into quite a good part of it. So this is what the woodland area looks like. And I would say if you have an imagination and like to direct movies, honestly this place is great to film like some sort of horror zombie movie. Great place. There's a lot of like different lakes and makeup and mud. There's a lot of mud, so if you're coming to Keele, bring your walking boots. Very useful place to be. Film a movie, either a sci-fi or a horror movie. Okay, this is the university website, keele.ac.uk. A lot of the information that I just mentioned now is actually from the website and also from Wikipedia. So this is just a bit of information about the foundation year. If you're thinking of doing it, this is like some of the criteria for foundation year. So they're usually students who don't have the grades for direct entry, perhaps. They're a mature student who are returning to education or returning to education from a break. So mature students, anyone over 21, I believe. And people who want to do a different subject prior to the whatever subject they want to do. And like they want to try the foundation year before they commit to the real course, they might do a foundation year at Keele. So you can do quite a lot of different ones like business, health, humanities, science, and social sciences. And I believe it looks like they've gone rid of the international foundation year as well. So for example, for this science foundation year route, this is just some of the entry requirements I might have to do if you want to get onto the course. But again, more info can be found on the website if you want to delve more into it. There's also an accommodation link, so this shows all the accommodation that the university has, including the fees. So accommodation types, so Barnes Hall, Lindsay Hall, Hallwood. So if I was to click on Hallwood, for example, it shows you a video of all the uh, things that are available. It is a bit outdated because obviously not all of the rooms are there. This shows you the price range, for example, per week. And like ensuite rooms if you wanted. Occupancy period, so 37 weeks pretty much covers both the semesters, the winter holidays and the Easter holidays. 40 weeks and 51 weeks, they also cover more of the summer route. This tells you all the sharing ratios you have. Obviously it varies depending on who you have. I lived in D block when I first moved here, as I said, so there were 23 rooms with 10 to 13 people per bathroom and 23 per kitchen. When I lived in, I also lived in Hawthorne, so my second year, before I moved to Barnes. Hawthorne was the old accommodation that the Keele University had. We had 25 people living in that area. They had 2 showers. 10 shared the shower at the top, so it was all 10 girls. And then the 15 were all boys, and they had their own sharing ratio for the bathroom, and we shared the kitchen. So this is some of the pictures of what the rooms might look like. Some of them also have a wash basin in their room. The one I had a wash basin in the room in my block, so it made it convenient when I'm in the mornings when the bathroom was busy. There were 2 showers and 2 toilets in my bathroom. It's in my floor. And we also had a bathtub, which I think doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, it's just like the sink was pretty convenient when you wanted to like quickly brush your teeth and you went. Now, I would say depending on your like how you choose accommodation really depends on whether like how much you want to pay for the year. They do go up in fees every year. I'm not gonna lie. So this is what the rents start from, and yeah, so minimum is 41,000 pounds per year. When I first started, I think it was a lot less than that, like 35,000 pounds. So yeah, just a heads up about how much the accommodation do cost. 51 weeks is convenient for those who are thinking of staying there for most of the time. So this is convenient for postgrad students, so for both masters and for PhD students. So just heads up, and also for like nursing and midwifery students who need to use accommodation for the vacation. Usually after first year, people tend to move into the local area for housing. That tends to be cheaper, but the contract lengths are a bit longer. So it's up to you, like what you prefer and what your fees is. Obviously, your fees are about applying. Before I finish this video, I actually wanted to show you something about the one of the museums that's actually in the university. So this is the Raven Mason collection. So it's a collection of pottery, ceramic collections that exist. So the pottery is local area to where the university was. It was well, they made ceramic pots. So the Mason collections is from this family called the Masons, who were they made china basically, like ceramic pots, using prints that were being using prints from ceramics that were imported from China and Japan, and they had quite a lot of like different patterns, and some of the vases and ceramic stuff can still be found today. And they had a couple of how to say pottery factories around the area, and Eventually the Mason family did go bust. But however, the university keeps on to some of the collections, and you can actually go visit the collections during certain times as well. So you can say the schedule on the online on the website. Um, Usually during the usually during like the open days, the uh, collections are open. So you can have a look and you can find out more info about the pottery collections as well. And they are pretty fascinating. I used to volunteer there um, before as well, and it was pretty nice. And it's only 2 rooms, and it's actually free to enter. Let me show you where it is. It's actually situated in Keele Hall, um, and it's on the upper level. So when you let me just get you a better view here. So the museum is actually on these 2 rooms. So when you go up through this entrance, you go up and they are on the door to your right, and it literally says Raven Mason Collection. So when you go in here, you can go through them when the venue is open, and that will take you into the collections. And I highly would recommend visiting, especially since it's free. You can see a lot of like different pottery collections that still are in pretty good condition. So the museum actually opened in 1993 when the Raven Mason family, they were like the eventual like owners of the Mason collection. They donated the ceramics to the university. Um, as they had no immediate family to pass on the um, pass on the um, stuff. So yeah, definitely definitely would recommend visiting. So yeah, so this is just a bit about the university website. If you go under the study section as well, you'll find all the courses that the university has, both postgrad and um, undergrad courses as well. You can talk to students as well using the chat options, and these are some of they have a lot of different courses that provide good quality education. One of the things that Keele is known for is the dual honor programs they have that can be quite random. So, for example, you can do a dual honors in chemistry and environmental science. Though they are linked, sometimes you might think, oh, how is it related? But you can also do, for example, computer science and music production, 2 very different degrees. But that's the whole point of the idea of Keele, to allow students to do degrees that benefit the local area. So the university has a lot in terms of that. So definitely recommend looking into Keele if you're thinking of doing some unusual combination. However, if you are wondering about doing medicine, 'cause obviously I'm doing medicine as a degree, I would highly recommend doing either the biology courses, or either biology and biochemistry. And chemistry is a good course to do, biochemistry as well, or biochemistry and biology, because you want to be able to cover quite a lot of like chemistry and biology in your degree. So any of the dual honors that you can think of doing that's medical related, so chemistry. There used to be a chemistry and human biology course actually. I must have taken it out now. I could be remembering it wrong. But definitely recommend doing biochemistry or biomedical sciences at Keele, because it would definitely help you with the prior knowledge for medicine as well. If you are entering medicine at Keele as well, again look at their entry requirements as well. They are pretty strict with there, so usually A's and A stars. Let me just look into this quickly. Um, requirements. So yeah, so again, look into it properly before you apply. So yeah, A.AA or AAA plus EPQ either way. So definitely a high threshold. So yeah, do your research thoroughly if you want to study at Keele. It is kind of in the middle of nowhere, like I mentioned. However, it is very nicely linked to places. Um, Stoke-on-Trent's the nearest train station. You can get one direct train to Manchester. It takes about 40 minutes to 1 hour journey. Depending on the train you take, whether the slow train or the fast train. Birmingham takes just over an hour to visit from Keele. Stoke-on-Trent rather, and they have nice Christmas markets you can attend. There's a direct train from Stoke-on-Trent to London, Euston, and also Crewe station's another close station to Keele. There's also one bus from the Crewe, from Keele that takes you to Crewe, so that's the number 85. That also goes into Newcastle on a line bus station. And from Crewe you can take a train to Chester, which then lets you go into Wales. For shopping areas, you would take the one bus from Keele, so that's the number 25, Potteries bus company, and that would actually the last stop before the before Newcastle Market Town would take you into Aldi and Morrison. So those are your two supermarkets, and you would go there and do shopping. You don't actually have to go into into the town center if you don't want to. You can also find quite a lot of restaurants in Newcastle, quite a few shopping areas. So they have like Next, I think there are quite a few restaurants as well, like I mentioned. Also hotels for those who want to stay for open days. Travel lodges are closest. It's near Lidl. There's also a Sainsbury's, but that's kind of a bit of a distance from the university, so you would definitely need a car for that. And then the hospital, like I said, is also on the bus route, on the 25 bus route. You don't have to get off the bus at the bus station in Newcastle. Under Lime, you can literally just take it straight to the hospital. And the bus will also take you into Hanley, which is at the nearest nearest city, I suppose, to Keele. Hanley forms one of the places that form Stoke-on-Trent. This shopping centre in Hanley, the Potteries, they have some of the bigger shops like Primark, TK Maxx, like other stuff that you might wanna, it might be in the interest of to students, right? Also like Forbidden Planet if you like that kind of like gaming stuff. Escape room, so there's a bit more going on in Stoke. Also some clubs are there as well that I've heard that are pretty decent. In terms of clubbing, like I said, you can go into Newcastle or Hanley for it. The university itself also has like club nights in the Student Union. Again, it's up to you depending on what kind of things you like. If you wanted to see what kind of things the university has, keelesu.com is the place to go for all your events and tickets for club nights, and they have a lot of like nightclub events that you can do, that you can get involved in. So the pub big quiz nights, they're quite fun. K-pop is a big thing now as well in Keele. And then there are also free events that you can do as well if you don't want to pay for any of them. So like, craft afternoons, that used to be pretty regular when I lived there. You can also do taster sessions for different sports clubs that the university has. Those are often free, and then you do have to pay for the semester or for the year for if you want to get involved in the sports clubs. The price varies depending on what sport you want to go to. If you want to check out, for example, university has an advice column as well. So ask, so that's the advice and support at Keele SU. It's an independent service, and they give you info on like housing. They can read contracts as well for you if you wanted to. So like that's the accommodation contract that you can ask them to read through to make sure that you're signing like a good contract. They also provide academic um, things as well, academic services. If if you're confused about something and you don't want to ask your tutor because you don't know them very well, ask, or you want independent advice, ask is a good one to go to. This page, Get Involved, has information about the athletic unions. That's the sports clubs at Keele that you can get involved in. They have quite a few sports clubs. Um, so yeah, anything from like American football, which I believe is just the men's at the minute, archery, badminton, all the way down to women's rugby, women's cricket, and yeah, snow sports as well. It's quite a few different things you can get involved in. If you're interested in like welfare and political stuff, there's political societies as well. If you want to start your own club, you can do so as well. I was part of the Keele Sci-Fi Society. We were called Skiffy. I think they're not running anymore because you need to have 3 people running it. I think my final year was at the last year. People were running it. I've not really seen much interest these days, but yeah. Um, but there's quite a few different things that you can get involved into. So if you want to run your own society, you can get involved and yeah, and have fun. So that's just a bit about the Students' Union. They also have like shops and services. It's like a print house, like printing place that you can go and print out any posters or in your dissertation that you wanted to do. In the university itself, they have their own like bar. Again, provides food, hot food, both at the bottom of the SU, and also on the first floor of the university. You can actually like book your own room in the SU as well, for free. That's what we did for the Sci-Fi Society. We used to book out the rooms every Sunday. They have an online shop that you can buy things from, like merchandise or clothing, teddy bears, memorabilia, etc. Um, that you can think of. I just saw this and I just remembered something actually. Staffordshire oat cake. It's a bit like a pancake, but it's actually made out of oats, and it's actually uh, it's a flavory crepe kind of thing made out of oats. It's very popular in that region. I've had it with hot cheese before, and it was really nice. Another thing I want to show you quickly is the way to go shop. It's pretty convenient. You just purchase whatever you want and you then weigh it, and you bring your own like containers, so you're reusing it. So you're not, and you can buy stuff way to go. Things are also like glass containers, and it just means that it's more eco-friendly, energy efficient as well, because you're not buying. You're already like bringing your own containers, so you don't have to pay for before containers that have been there. And you can buy things like cereal, dried fruits, grains, and pastas. It's a fairly small shop, but I'm sure with time they'll actually like get popular. So you just weigh out how much you need and you pay for that accordingly. So very very useful, and also to prevents waste because you're just buying how much you need. So you can also buy like liquid soap and detergent that are vegan friendly as well. So yeah, that's just a bit about the Students' Union, and you can look more into about what the students' unions do and what kind of work they do. So it's basically they benefit the students and will help solve any problems that you might have with the university. in terms of like academic complaints or like disability complaints or housing complaints. So they're there to help you and make sure you enjoy your time at Keele. So yeah, so that's just a bit about the Keele University. I apologize that this video is quite long. I did it in a way that would make editing a bit difficult, but however, you still find it a bit useful to listen to my voice and talk about the university. I will leave out all the links that I've used so far to get my information so you can access them on your own time as well. So yeah, that's it from me for today, and I will see you next time for my future episodes. See you guys later.